I thought it was getting really interesting, so I decided last week to go to Ottawa yesterday to live tweet from the trial. But the night before yesterday's hearing, the prosecutor herself put out a letter to the public saying there would be an important announcement yesterday. And indeed there was. Let me quote from the statement from the prosecution. After reviewing further evidence provided to the prosecution, some from applications for records that were not part of the investigation, third-party records, and some volunteered by the defense, the Public Prosecution Service of Canada is no longer of the view that a reasonable prospect of conviction exists. In particular, the Crown has concluded that it will not be able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Mr. Norman's conduct in this case amounted to a serious and marked departure from the standards expected of a person in his position of trust. So that's what the prosecutor told the judge yesterday morning, and the charges were dropped after 2 years of him being wrung out. So let me translate that statement from the prosecutor into English. The Trudeau government refused to give over information to Mark Norman or his lawyer Marie Henein. They just refused. Not just that, they were actively deceiving the court by claiming they had no records or by deliberately using coded words so as not to use Norman's name. Like I say, only organized crime behaves that way. So Marie Henein herself was able to find records that apparently exonerated Mark Norman. She found them herself somehow and gave them to the prosecutor. And the prosecutor looked at it and said, "Oh my God, you're right. The last 2 years of this prosecution has been a fraud." Okay, I don't know exactly what she thought. How would I know what she thought? But that's the effect of it, because the prosecutor dropped the charges. They would have prosecuted and perhaps convicted an innocent man had Trudeau had his way. Let that sink in. Now, the prosecutor came out of the court and said this, and I was right there. And believe me, I was steaming mad about this injustice. How on earth could the Crown prosecutor not have had the facts? The Justice Department, it's like the largest law firm in the country, thousands of lawyers. They have endless resources, unlimited resources. They have all the facts, all the information. It's the government. Norman was crowdfunding his defense in $5 and $10 increments, and the prosecution didn't have this important information, but Marie Henein did? That's an outrage. And a good man was smeared for 2 years because of it. Here, listen to me get really mad at this prosecutor.
Did the government not give you exculpatory evidence before you prosecuted? Who withheld that information from you?
There's no such thing as this one piece of exculpatory evidence in a case like this.
How did you not have it?
It's a complex breach of trust.
How did you not have it?
We did have it eventually.
Did you not have the resources to find it in the first place?
Do you speak French, ma'am? Can you say a few
Not
words?
sufficiently.
Were the documents coming from PMO?
So is it over? I mean, is this case over? Just to clarify this.
Yes, it is.
And how
Yes,
many,
it is.
can you explain?
Why did you not explain what the exculpatory evidence was since you smeared him publicly? I mean, his name has been blackened in public. Why will you not tell us what information has caused you to drop this? You were happy to throw mud. Why don't you tell us what the detergent was?
Sir, the defense counsel has provided the information on certain conditions, and I can't discuss
Right, but
it.
you're the one who smeared him in public with this 2-year ordeal. Why will you not tell us why he's free to go? Don't you feel an obligation to his reputation?
I tried to explain that in court as well as I could.
Has your office had any contact whatsoever with the PMO? Well, really, don't you think you owe a little bit more to Mr. Norman? Do you feel any personal feelings about this case? Do you feel like maybe you were used a bit? No, don't you think you were used a
No,
bit?
we did our job, sir.
All right, I was mad. But don't you think my point is right? Why can't we know how and why Mark Norman was exonerated? Would it embarrass some politician somewhere? Who cares? How can this prosecutor who eventually did the right thing after doing the wrong thing for 2 years, how does she feel? She was part of a false accusation against him. She was part of a false prosecution against him of an innocent man. Could you imagine if she had succeeded? For 2 years, she led the fight against Mark Norman. Is it really enough for her to say, as she told me at the end there, I was just doing my job. I was just doing my job. Well, maybe. And maybe she truly didn't know about this until just recently, about the exculpatory information, whatever that information was. But surely she knew for months, maybe years, that her client, the Trudeau government, was withholding information, was hiding, was lying. We all knew that. She knew that. And she went along with it. And she has nothing to say now other than, I was doing my job. And what about Justin Trudeau? Well, that coward skipped question period on Wednesday. And again today, here's his official schedule. So he's busy. You see, he's getting ready for a Ramadan celebration tonight. I'm not kidding. That's actually what his schedule says he's doing tonight. The coward, not just a coward, a corrupter of justice. That's an excerpt from the Ezra Levant show. Every day, I do a video monologue, and then I interview an interesting guest, and then I end by reading my hate mail. But you've got to subscribe to it, which you can do at therebel.media/shows.